Hi guys, I'm Jesse and I work here at Oh BiBi as a game artist. So today I want to share a bit of my process, so how I go creating a character, like how do we think the design behind the character and how his capacities should affect his looks. So on this particular character, which is Ollie, so you'll probably discover very soon, we wanted to give some kind of 90s vibe, like the cool kid, but we wanted the girl for that twist because we all have in mind, Marty McFly on his board or something like this, but we wanted to change things a bit. So we went ahead with the girl, and we also wanted to have a bit of a butchy look to it, like she was a bit of a bruiser, like reckless kid, So hence you'll see with that concept, we put a bit of bandages and a bit of scrap damages over her gear and stuff like this. What we have done for Frag is that we have created like 3 different types of body types, like male, female, and a very tough looking man. We also have variations on that. We are a bit free to roam around these limits. So here, as you can see, I'm starting with a very rough and basic silhouette of the character in 3D. So that's the classic female that we have for our artists. And very roughly, I try to get the big shapes in. So the hair, the knee pads, the board, the backpack, just very big elements that are very visually attractive to anyone who's just passing by and looking. This is where we're trying to nail down the silhouette so that when you are in game from afar, you can tell, oh, that's Ollie coming in with her board. And it just helps game design and gameplay in general. So after that, I go into detailing of the modeling. We have that type of rendering, like texturing, that basically involves a lot of hang painting. So we don't have to create all the details in the modeling. We bet on the fact that we can paint the textures right so that you believe that it's really is like a super candy. So yeah, you have to keep in mind that since it's a mobile game, we're trying not to go too crazy on the polygon count. So basically how complex the model is, so that the game runs on as many devices as possible. So once the modeling is done, we review it and we discuss it, but usually we try to have it as quickly as possible inside the engine so that we can put it next to the other characters and see if it's different enough, but if it keeps the vibe of the game, shape-wise, Frag, very blocky, squarey things. So yeah, once that is done, I unwrap the model, so that's a bit complex, but on paper at least. And basically, it's putting a 3D model onto a 2D plane so that we can then apply pixels of colors onto it. So basically, you can think about an onion that you would peel off and then put it on the table and iron it, and then it would be flat. But if you were to wrap it around the onion again, then you would get the nice stripes where they were. So that's basically what we do. Don't worry, it's way easier in 3D. Once that's done, I can go into 3D Code, our painting engine, and I start texturing in the model. So as you can see in the time lapse, I do basically first a shadow pass to get all the details and create that feel of 3D, which I was talking about earlier. We just don't sculpt anything, we just paint in all these fine details. Once that's done, I go into coloring. I put very big color blocks on the model on the grayscale, basically to get the values right, and then put the tone map on it. So once that's done, I do what I call the push layer, which is basically pushing out all the little details that you want to emphasize on. If you want the face to pop out from the model, you just put a big stamp of white on top of that with a blending mode that would just burn the colors and give it a nice touch. And once that is done, the final thing that we do with texture is that we create a specular map from it. Specular map is a very gamey, nerdy thing. That's basically a map that controls how light reflect on it. And then in the engine, we tweak it so that metals feels metal and plastic, plastic, and etc. etc. Once that is done, we review the model in Unity with the texture and the materials. On Ollie, we just had the glasses. And the glasses, we have a generic holographic material that we created a while ago, so that I just had to change the texture to yellow so that it fits. But yeah, it's actually streamlined in a way that every tweak is easy to make. Once the texture is done, I then go into the rigging part. The rigging part is basically putting a skeleton inside the model. Since we have only 3 body types, we have 3 skeletons that we can just use every time. Usually we don't have anything to do since we just put the model and it fits right on top of it. Sometimes we have a bit of adjustments, but we try not to go too far because then the animations that are streamlined through the 3 body types, they act weirdly if we move too far from the initial skeleton. And yeah, that's about it. So then in Unity, there's a lot of technical stuff. Our programmers, they've done a very great job at streamlining their process of integration of the characters, so we can help them out. We usually put the scripts that would tell Unity that a character is a character, it should react to bullets, stuff like this. So yeah, that's about it. I hope I gave you a little bit of insight on how we create the characters, and hopefully it motivated you to create your own, or maybe come work with us at Oh BiBi.